Hello everyone, Niev here, and we are doing the Cancer study, the zodiac sign Cancer. So of course I've pulled out the two books that I've primarily been using to study the various zodiac signs, and that is Parker's Astrology, this big coffee table style book here, with some really amazing art and stuff. Yeah, really enjoy this. And also Starcodes Astro Oracle. I have the book, my spiritual journal here, and my decorated page is in here for Cancer, but I'm not going to show it yet. As per usual, I'm going to overlay a video of me decorating the page. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on the screen now and start talking about Cancer. So we finally have a sign here that I actually do have prominently in my chart. And by that, I mean I don't have a lot of placements in Cancer. I have one placement in Cancer, but it's in the big three. My rising sign is in Cancer, and I'll get to the rising in Cancer part a little bit later, but this position, Cancer is the sign I think I struggle with the most, and it's one of those signs that I think all of my other placements, I don't know if it clashes or if it struggles with it or something, but I feel like Cancer is kind of that it's almost out of place in my chart. I don't know how to describe that. And I'm sure it doesn't make any sense. So Cancer to me is like the most emotional of the signs and really embodies what I view as like the water element. They're incredibly loving and caring, but also sensitive and clingy. Their imagination is strong and vivid, but if that's not carefully managed, it can lead to continual worry, especially over their loved ones. So despite Cancerian tendencies to worry, they do have a naturally high intuitive instinct, which is great, making them really good decision makers. And that's funny because here's one of the areas where it's something that sort of clashes, because my sun sign is in Libra, and I feel like Libra is often associated with difficulties making decisions, and Cancer, however, they tend to be pretty good at making decisions. So that's something that's quite fascinating in my chart specifically. But they are, at best, when allowed to work instinctively, they are truly very sentimental to their loved ones, and have very inventive and creative ways of showing love to their loved ones, and how much they care. However, this can come off as, say, overly sentimental or clingy, or a bit too much. That is something that can happen. Cancers struggle to not get moody, as this is quite a moody placement here. And find it difficult to let go of things. And there's several areas there that I do connect with, and I see that reflected in my rising sign. So, some of the keywords for Cancer, and these are again coming from the books, Parker's Astrology and Starcodes Astro Oracle. The keywords I've listed down for this are emotional, loving, intuitive, imaginative, shrewd, cautious, protective, sympathetic, changeable, moody, over emotional, touchy, clingy, which maybe I put in there already. I don't remember, but and unable to let go, and romantic and immersive. Those were the general keywords that came about in my Cancer research. So I'm going to discuss the tarot cards associated with Cancer once we get back from the decorations here. Yeah, and and the placement, or the associations. The associations with Cancer it's a water sign, of course, along with Scorpio and Pisces. It's a water sign. It's also a cardinal sign, which is funny because all three of my big three are cardinal signs. And so they're the beginning of the season. They start off the season. It's also associated with yin, and the moon. Of course, it's ruled by the moon. Yeah, so my rising, as I mentioned, is in Cancer. That is the ascendant sign there. Yeah, and as I said, I've always seen this as a difficult or out of place sign in my chart. Yeah, it's one of those placements that we kind of struggle with a little bit, and I've always found that I sort of struggled with Cancer, and it's not that I've had difficult times befriending Cancers, because I've had some very close friends in my life who were Cancers, but I've also noticed that I think I get the most frustrated with Cancers. Yeah, sun sign Cancer, I mean. But everyone's different, and that doesn't mean I wouldn't get along with someone. It's just I have found that, when I've gotten annoyed with someone, because I felt like they were being too emotional or too, something like that, too, yeah, emotional is really where I was going with that. So I felt that said person was being too emotional. A lot of times it turns out that they have prominent Cancer placements in their charts. Yeah, so that's it. So I know that I have that conflict there, and obviously every person is different. So I wouldn't not be friends with someone because they're a Cancer. That's ridiculous and not even correct. But I've had some very, very close friends in life, and wonderful, wonderful people who were Cancers. But I would say that Cancer is the one sign that I've noticed that I struggle with the most. The ascendant shows who we really are. It's kind of that the inner workings of ourselves, or it can sometimes be how we present how we come off to others when they first sort of meet us. And yeah, there's different ways of looking at that in astrology. Some people say it's the mask you wear, and then others people say the sun sign is the mask you wear. It is a bit complicated, but there is sort of an intermingling between the sun sign and the ascendant. Both signs are like two sides of ourselves. One is more inward and kind of our true selves, and one is kind of what we express to everyone else. And yeah, and there's been a lot of people who see themselves more as a sun sign, and others who do not. And I don't know where I would place myself there. I definitely see some of the Cancerian traits in myself that I struggle with, but to me, I feel like such a Libra. But, yeah, so people with Cancer rising have a fascination to explore their own personalities. And I know that seems so general, and people who are into astrology run the gamut, and so obviously not all of them are going to be Cancer risings. But through my research on this particular subject, it seems that Cancer risings have a particular kind of interest in their own personalities. So they have a strong desire to explore their personalities. And an interesting thing about Cancer risings is they are very invested in the success of those closest to them, like their partners. And they have a very strong desire to see those close to them succeed in life, and are very supportive of the ambitions of those closest to them. And I think that's very true for me. So illogical worry about one's health is common for this position, and boy, does that fit me. That was not something that I would say was true of me in the past, but probably in the past 5 years ago or so, I definitely find myself being much more concerned about my own health, and I'm not allowed to look up stuff online. Like, I'm not allowed to look up medical stuff online because of this. And that's my own personal rule. But yeah, but that worry about health, it tends to lead to a cycle. So if they don't get a grip on it, the cancer risings, they can get into this cycle of worry and then bad health, and then worry and bad health, etc. This position is focused on the home and home life, and finding solace and peace at home. And they may have difficulties setting boundaries with others, and that does hit home for me there. All right, so we are going to come back to the screen here, and here is the finished page. Let me move these books out of the way real quick. So here is the finished page. Nice. I think it turned out pretty good. I kind of went with a crystal theme, and I did have a watery washi tape here at the bottom. It's a bunch of humpback whales, but I was really drawn to using crystals for this sign for some reason, and I think it sort of melded with the deck that I ended up choosing to represent Cancer, and I'm going to pull that out now. So this may come as a surprise because I was initially thinking the deck that I was going to choose to represent Cancer was going to be something really fluffy and or emotional, or something like that. Something very I don't know if sweet is the right word, but maybe even cutesy, not quite. But it's something very emotional, and I considered going for like the Ocean Tarot, but I felt like that was going to be a bit too on the nose, because it's straight up a water deck. And I thought it was a little too obvious and didn't quite match the feel of Cancer for me. And then my next choice was potentially going to be my Sailor Moon deck. It's the Moon Crystal Tarot, and that it would sort of match the coloring I ended up going with. And part of the reason I was going to choose that because Sailor Moon herself is a Cancer, so that is, but again, I felt like that was maybe a little bit too on the nose. So I really kind of racked my brain a little bit, and it probably took me a while to figure this out, whereas the other ones were so quick, because of my this push and pull that I have with Cancer. This maybe, I don't know if contentious is the right word, but like this sort of difficult relationship I have with this sign. It made it difficult to find a deck, but I think I settled on this, and I feel good about it. I settled on the Rain Shadow Tarot, and this may seem like an odd choice. And let me see if I can zoom in. Let's see. There, I'm using a different camera setting right now, so hopefully this doesn't mess up the video too much. I usually use portrait mode when I record on video, which I can't manually zoom in on my phone for that, so I have to adjust the tripod for. So I'm using a different setting, and I can zoom on this one, so hopefully everything turns out okay. So I chose the Rain Shadow Tarot. One, it's a very watery deck, but it's also very earthy. It does have it's got a lot of stones and this sort of rocky vibe to it, which feels very earthy and of the earth. So I thought maybe it wouldn't go because of that, but it's also very, I don't know, there is a very much a water aspect to this deck that I really see shining through. It's very flowy. The others in this series, the Illuminated Earth and the Faceted Garden, both of those are very earthy, much more than this one. Whereas the Rain Shadow, I think because it's got that rain element to it. It does have lend itself more to that watery side of things. And this is a very, very deep deck. It's one of my current favorites. I really enjoy this deck. So and maybe me choosing this is part of my push to really embrace that Cancer rising for me, you know, and embrace that the Cancer side of myself. But yeah, but there's a lot about this that it just feels very Cancer to me, and here we see a lot of those stones, which again feels very earthy, but there's something very watery about this deck, and I can't quite explain it why. It just kind of is. But that is why I went with more like these crystals here for the decoration. I included a water element, but it is a lot of crystal sort of energy here, so I like that. Yeah. And one of the other reasons is that this deck is kind of has an element of duality to it. It feels very so the rain shadow. Let me see if I have the box to show. On one side of a mountain, it can get overrained, and the other side can become dry and barren. I think that was kind of the story behind the rain shadow phenomena. And this, it feels very moody. It feels very moody. And Cancer is a very moody sign. So it was just... It just felt like it fit. I don't know if that makes sense, but it just sort of felt like it fit for this. So it may be an unusual pick for this, and this feels very much like underwater here. It feels like sea kelp or something. But I don't know. I think it fits. I think this feels very Cancer to me. So, and that's... an interesting way of thinking about this deck now, and also lends to an interesting way of thinking about Cancer. So I'm going to pull out the cards associated with Cancer. So as far as the major arcana goes, you would think it would be the moon, but it is not the moon, because Cancer is ruled by the moon. But the major arcana that is associated with Cancer is actually the Chariot. So that is the energy that we're looking at with in the tarot associated with Cancer. So I wanted to look at what the book actually said about the Chariot for this deck. And it says here, commitment to a cause, action inspired by ambition and conviction. Yeah, I feel that with Cancer. As I was saying, when I was writing down all the information I gathered from when researching Cancer, it is very interested in ambition and moving forward, but it's like they care about that for other people. You know, they care about that for their close loved ones. It's that element of ambition and conviction, but that support of other people. It's almost like the Cancers are the Chariot itself, there to carry the people in their lives, which it could be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on how far we let that go. But so you've embarked on a mission to set things straight, and the universe is behind you. Emotion, intellect, and execution are all required for your goals to be successful. You may need to harness the energy of the sun and the moon. There's that duality, but your vehicle is fortified to tread over any obstacle. So pretty good right up there for the Chariot. So for the minor arcana, the decans associated with Cancer are the 2, 3, and 4 of cups. 2, 3, and 4. Of course, the cup suit is a water suit. So we're going to move these up a little bit here to make some room down here. And in fact, I'll zoom out just a little bit. Let me see. Yeah, I'm not used to being able to zoom out on my phone because I always use a different mode. But all right, so and of course, because it's the cup suit, especially, we're seeing a lot of that water energy here with the cups cards. But we get the sense of partnership and close relationships with two of these cards. Both the 2 of Cups and the 3 of Cups have a lot to do with relationships and being part of a community community and making joint decisions. It has less to do with some independence and more to do with a community aspect. And then the Four of Cups here, oftentimes we think of this as representing apathy, and this could potentially show that when we oops, sorry, I just knocked the box into this, but when we overextend ourselves in our support of others, sometimes it can lead to a certain sense of overwhelm, and overwhelm isn't exactly something I would a keyword I would use for the Four of Cups, but it can find like Cancerians who have difficulty finding that balance of support for others and support for themselves can sort of have this sort of crash out moment where they just sort of it's not a shutting out from the world, but it's maybe a lack of interest. And usually this is lack of self-interest, because Cancer tends to be much more outward in their support and support of others. So the court cards. So from I think it's called Labyrinthos. I can't remember that. They have a chart of finding associating the court cards with various signs based on elements and their modality and things like that. And their association with Cancer, I believe, was the Queen of Cups. And I can really see that. I can definitely see that. The Queen of Cups, to me, is kind of the therapist card, and it sort of embodies that sort of energy. And Cancerians can make pretty good therapists because they do have a lot of empathy for other people. So I definitely see the Queen of Cups really representing that empathy aspect of Cancer. And then I also chose the Page of Cups to represent Cancer because I sort of feel like this also has a lot of Cancerian energy. It's like a less mature queen. And I guess we could say that of any pages. They're kind of a less mature version of their later selves here. But there's something about the Page of Cups that has a certain sense of innocence to it that I've always felt that Cancer has. So there's a certain level of innocence in my mind that I associate with Cancer. So I've picked both here. This was what was officially put on that infographic, and then my own added. I also see the Page of Cups very much represented in Cancer. So that is the deck that I chose and the cards that I chose for it. I did not show the page from the Parker's Astrology. I always show that near the beginning of these videos, but like I said, in my past videos, I don't really plan how I do these. They're always sort of I'm just kind of doing them as I do them, and I've here and there changed up how I was doing it before, and it's kind of just a go with the flow sort of thing for me. So I might not always have the same ways of doing it video to video, but anyway, let me see. Oh, here we are. Okay, and of course we got the crab because that is the what animal is, or what it's what do we call that? Its mascot. It's what represents Cancer. And it's the crab, of course. I think the only non-living creature that represents a zodiac sign in the zodiac wheel is Libra, because it's the scales, of course. But yeah, so here is the artwork here for the Cancer page. This is a fun book. I really enjoy it. And then it's got all the other information here, and it does break down the image, these pictures. So like right here, one is triplicity or element, water signs, blah blah blah. I'm not going to read all of this. And then where's two? Two is up here. So origin. 3 is the glyphs. 4, I guess 4 is the flowers and the plants. Oh yeah, I just haven't really looked at this too closely, so I'm just kind of enjoying looking at that. All right, and so the next one, of course, is Leo. So that's from Parker's Astrology, and then we have what it says here in Starcodes. Let's see, I'm after Gemini here. So immerse was a keyword that they used for this. So Cancer placements support dynamic boundaries, you know, and then, you know, you add that into being the rising sign, and there may be difficulties setting boundaries. So that's fascinating there. Yeah. You know, sometimes I kind of read these a little bit in these videos, and then sometimes I kind of don't. So that is Starcodes Astro Oracle. Pretty good. Yeah. All right. So I think that's everything. That is my study for Cancer. And I'm going to put the Chariot card right here. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I will see you next time. Bye.